Three experienced lighthouse keepers, one isolated island, and then they simply disappeared. When a supply ship arrived at Scotland's remote Flannan Isles in December 1900, the lighthouse was still standing. The lamp had been maintained, the rooms were tidy, but the three men responsible for keeping the light burning were nowhere to be found. No bodies were ever recovered, no witness ever came forward. More than a century later, the disappearance of James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald McArthur remains one of history's most unsettling unsolved mysteries. Hello everyone, welcome to Mysteon. Today we are diving into one of history's most fascinating unsolved mysteries, so let's get started. The Flannan Isles are a small group of rocky islands located about 20 miles west of Scotland's outer Hesperus. Surrounded by the powerful North Atlantic, these islands are known for unpredictable weather, towering cliffs, and enormous waves that crash relentlessly against the shoreline. To help ships safely navigate these dangerous waters, a lighthouse was built on the largest island, Eilean Mòr. It officially began operating in December 1899 and quickly became an important landmark for vessels crossing the Atlantic. Life at the lighthouse wasn't easy. Three keepers lived on the island at a time, working long shifts to ensure the light never failed. They cleaned the giant lens, maintained the machinery, monitored the weather, and kept detailed daily records. It was an isolated life. Weeks could pass without seeing another person, and rough seas often delayed supply boats. The keepers relied almost entirely on one another. By December 1900, the lighthouse was staffed by Principal Keeper James Ducat, Assistant Keeper Thomas Marshall, and Donald McArthur, who was temporarily replacing another keeper. Everything appeared normal. Then on December 26, after several days of bad weather had delayed the scheduled relief boat, the supply ship Hesperus finally approached the island. Almost immediately, something felt wrong. Normally, one of the keepers would be waiting at the landing area to greet the arriving crew and help unload supplies. This time, no one appeared. The ship's horn echoed across the island. A distress flare was fired into the sky. Still, there was only silence. Concerned, Captain James Harvey ordered relief keeper Joseph Moore to go ashore and investigate. As Moore climbed the steep stone path toward the lighthouse, he expected one of the men to emerge at any moment, but no one did. The main door was closed, but unlocked. Inside, everything was strangely orderly. The beds had been used, the kitchen showed signs of recent activity, the lamp had been cleaned and refilled, suggesting the keepers had carried out their duties shortly before disappearing. There were no signs of violence, no blood, no evidence of a struggle, but there was one thing missing: the three keepers themselves. Moore searched every room before heading outside. Near the western landing area, he found clear signs that the island had recently been battered by violent seas. A storage box had been smashed apart. Heavy ropes had been torn away. Iron railings were bent. The Atlantic had clearly unleashed tremendous force against the cliffs. Soon afterward, Superintendent Robert Muir of the Northern Lighthouse Board arrived to conduct an official investigation. His inspection uncovered one particularly puzzling detail. Two heavy waterproof coats were missing. One was still hanging inside the lighthouse. That suggested one of the keepers had stepped outside without putting on essential protective clothing, something experienced lighthouse keepers were unlikely to do during dangerous winter weather. It was a small clue, but it raised an even bigger question. What could have happened outside that was urgent enough for all three men to leave the safety of the lighthouse? Investigators searched every corner of Eilean Mòr, hoping to find some trace of the missing keepers. But they found nothing. No footprints leading away from the lighthouse, no signs of a fight, no personal belongings scattered across the island, and most importantly, no bodies were found. With so little evidence, Superintendent Robert Muir could only reconstruct what he believed had happened. His report focused on the storm damage near the western landing. The smashed storage box, twisted railings, and damaged equipment suggested that powerful waves had reached far higher than normal. Muir believed one of the keepers had gone outside to check the equipment after the storm. A second keeper likely followed to help. The third may have rushed out moments later, leaving his waterproof coat behind because he expected to be outside only briefly. If all three men had gathered near the cliffs at the same time, they could have been caught by an enormous wave and swept into the freezing Atlantic before they had any chance to escape. Even today, many historians consider this is the most likely explanation. The waters surrounding the Flannan Isles are among the most dangerous in the Scotland, and rogue waves, rare but extremely powerful walls of water, have been recorded in oceans around the world. Such a wave could easily explain the severe damage found at the landing and why none of the men were ever seen again. But despite being the official explanation, it doesn't answer every question. Lighthouse keepers were highly trained. They understood the dangers of the sea better than almost anyone. So why would all three leave the lighthouse at once? Standard practice usually required at least one keeper to remain inside to ensure the light continued operating. And if the weather was dangerous enough to produce such a massive wave, why would one experienced keeper step outside without his heavy waterproof coat? Those unanswered questions have kept the mystery alive for more than a century. As the years passed, alternative theories began to appear. Some believed one keeper may have slipped from the cliff while inspecting the damaged equipment, prompting the other two to attempt a rescue. In the chaos, all three could have been pulled into the sea. Others suggested a sudden collapse of rocky shoreline may have dragged them over the edge. These ideas are possible, but like the official explanation, they remain impossible to prove. Then came the more extraordinary stories. Some claimed the men had encountered something supernatural on the island. Others spoke of ghostly figures, mysterious lights, or strange forces connected local folklore. These stories made the mystery even more famous, but no credible evidence has ever supported them. They remain legends rather than historical fact. More than 120 years have passed since James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald McArthur disappeared. Their bodies were never recovered. No diary was found explaining their final hours. No witness ever revealed what happened that day. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse still stands on Eilean Mòr, but it no longer needs keepers. Modern automation has replaced the people who once lived there. While the Atlantic continues to crash against the same unforgiving cliffs, perhaps the official explanation is correct. Perhaps one unexpected wave changed everything in a matter of seconds. Or perhaps the island is still holding one final secret. Until new evidence is discovered, we will never know exactly what happened to the three men who vanished from one of the world's loneliest lighthouses. And that's what makes the Flannan Isles Lighthouse one of history's most enduring unsolved mysteries. What do you think happened on Eilean Mòr? Do you believe the official explanation, or is there another theory that makes more sense? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Mysteon and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigations. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.